Tangs, originally operated Oldsmobiles. Well, all right, it looks like we're ready to go. Hello everyone, Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan, and welcome to another episode of There's a Place, the ASMR talk show, the show that feels good to hear. You'll never know it to watch the show because I'm a consummate professional, but I'm a little tired today. I didn't get much sleep the past couple nights because I've got these yuppie neighbors and they've gotten a new dog. It's a rescue and it is just barking like crazy. Now, if you're familiar with the show, you know my opinion on animals and dogs. I don't have anything against them, but if you're going to get a pet, make it a charismatic, well-behaved pet. So picking a dog out of juvie, I don't really get that mentality. There's plenty of good dogs out there. I don't know why you want one with a history of violence. But anyway, these yuppies I live next to just got this dog, and it just barks all night, all morning. It's essentially like having an alarm clock in the yard next to my house. And I don't get along with these neighbors. We've never had words, but really, yuppies are one of the worst things in the world. They're the scum of the earth. I cannot stand them. They are what's wrong with this country because they're kind of working class, but not, and they definitely don't have any strong values. And these aren't even yupsters like the Portlandia set. These are yuppies. I don't know what's going on. The guy never will say hello when we pass in the driveway. I don't know. I got a real problem with these yuppies. But it got me thinking. Moving to a neighborhood that's a nice neighborhood, gentrifying neighborhood, is a bit of a double-edged sword. Because on the one hand, the neighborhood's safer, but on the other hand, if you want to have a good neighbor, you want to live next to a criminal. Because a criminal is going to be keeping a low profile, keeping to themselves. They're not going to get some dog that's going to draw a bunch of attention. They're not going to remodel their deck and have construction at their house for months on end, starting at 9 a.m. Do you think that guy who locked those women in his basement for all those years, think he was ever renovating his kitchen? No. Kept a low profile. I like that. So, if you want to have a diverse neighborhood, peaceful neighborhood, you should definitely try to live next to some criminals. It's going to go really great, unless of course your kid gets abducted. Then that's another shootout. And another set of problems. But think about it. My guest tonight is a friend of mine, known for a couple years now. Never did the one-on-one hangout though. So I like that. It's kind of like a hyperbolic time chamber of getting to know someone being on this show. But she is a rocker. She is a music fan. She is a punk, and she's a wrestler. Please welcome Tuna Tardugno. Tardugno, I got it right. I don't know, thank you. What's up, Tuna?
Hi.
Yeah, I don't know why I ask people how to pronounce their name, because as soon as somebody says like, oh, hi, I'm whatever, immediately it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like it's a bad habit I have. But you have a kind of an unusual name, so
It's a double-edged sword.
You're just Tuna to most.
Yes. Which is unfortunate for me because sometimes I don't remember other people's names, but everyone's always like Tuna, and I'm like, yeah. So I've gotten really good at home slice. What's up, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Yeah, I should start introducing the guests like that. My homie. Please welcome my number one. Mm-hmm. Tuna is not your real name, though, right?
It is.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought it was a nickname.
No.
And you were protective and you didn't let anybody know your real name.
No.
Tuna? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, this is, we need to talk to the research department about this. This is really throwing me for a loop. How's that been, being named Tuna?
Totally fine, actually.
You seem...
It's, yeah. Like, I didn't think anything weird of it. And then the older I got, people are like, that's weird. I'm like, is it? And then there's always, like, the people that are like, Tuna, ooh. And then I, like, don't really react. And then they're like, oh. And then it's fine, so...
Is it short for something? No, it's just
No.
Tuna. What is your mother like? I think that's the next question.
My mom's really awesome. She, I don't know, she just liked rock and roll, and she loves ski nerd. She likes to smoke a lot of pot. She likes to party. And then she just came up with Tuna. I don't know.
Wow, that's a lot cooler than if it's not a great nickname. Great birth name.
Yeah.
And if with the alliteration, I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
The double
It's good.
T.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, wow. That's far out. Any problem? Did people like ever not believe it's your real name or? Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah, whatever.
You know.
Did you ever get someone who's really annoying about it? Like, that's not your real name. No way.
I usually get a lot of times people will be like, Tuna, like the fish? I'm like, yeah. And then they'll say their name. And I always try and think about like a something. So like, this guy's like, oh, my name's Mark. I'm like the question. And then this girl was like, oh, my name's Grace. I'm like amazing. You know, so I always try and... I don't have one for Adam.
Adam like Adamant.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve. Adam bomb.
Yeah.
Adam like the bomb.
Yeah, I would do that one. That's
Yeah.
good. And then you'd say, no, like the bomb.
Because it's actually not. That's ATOM.
Yeah, I know. But
So, good line, but good comeback. But
you could get me a comeback.
Yeah. Tuna, we've you've been around the rock scene for a long time. You ever did a thing where like you kind of know somebody, but you don't know well enough to like talk to them? I'm sure you've experienced that a lot. Then you get to know them better. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I was in Chicago in 2013, and I saw you walking down the street wearing a DNF shirt. You know, just New Forever. Could that have been you? This would have been fall of 2013.
Yeah,
2012
probably
maybe.
actually. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, and it was the kind of thing where it's like, oh, yeah, we must have some mutual friends. She has to share this local band, but
I don't know. Yeah.
it would be weird
That was
to say something.
When was that? I was in Chicago for like a day.
Like a hip kind of neighborhood, like Weaver Street, something like that. Start with a W, I think.
I know the record store was on that street.
Yeah, right.
What's the record store in Chicago? I can't remember.
Yeah. But that was you, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah.
I was there in the fall.
Had to have been. Yeah, well, I wish I had said something.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
I was on tour, so I was only there for a day myself.
Who were you on tour with?
David Lee Bart.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. that's
Was that before or after the aerobics?
That was before.
Awesome.
The aerobics video was kind of towards the end.
I didn't realize he toured.
Yeah, we went on a tour for it's like 60 days, something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Just U.S.?
Yeah, like a
Whoa,
little bit of Canada.
baby.
That's a long time. I wish somebody had told me how long that was.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go away to college or anything. Like, I'm from here. I had to, be in a band with a crazy person.
Yeah.
Playing at every bar in the country.
He's come to Amoeba a lot now. He's draw portraits of everyone.
Yes. I heard that he, they don't like him when he comes to the upstairs, the movie section.
Oh, really?
Because he just asks for, like, different TV shows that he remembers. Like, no, it's not on DVD.
Aw, poor guy.
Yeah.
I think that working in the movie department's got to be the hardest job at Amoeba.
Oh, you work at Amoeba.
I do.
We should let the audience know that. I got a lot of questions about that.
Okay.
Not in a bad way.
No, I'll
But,
answer away. Bring them on.
Have you always aspired to work at a record store? A lot of people think that'd be like the ultimate job.
I mean, I definitely wanted to. Like, when I came to LA and I saw Amoeba, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I want to work there. Ooh, can I swear? Is that okay?
You can do whatever you want.
So yeah, I came out here. The first time I went to Amoeba was in 2005, I think, because I came out for WrestleMania 21, and I asked somebody actually that was at WrestleMania, like, oh, is there any cool record stores in LA? And they're like, oh, everyone goes to Amoeba. So I went to Amoeba, and I'm like, holy shit, it's awesome. And then I moved to LA in 2006, and I started working there in 2007. So it was weird when I first started, like, when I was trying to get the job, like, everyone's like, yeah, don't try if you've never worked in a record store, but I was like, but I really want to. And then gave my resume to the right person, and she got it to the right person. So
2007, that was in a very weird point for records when Amoeba had put a lot of local record stores out of business.
Yeah.
Not by fault of Amoeba, it's just
Yeah.
there was not a lot of people buying records.
Yeah.
Amoeba was the best at the time. I miss Rhinehill. But record stores were just going out of business.
Yeah.
Amoeba had a large CD collection, so that's how they were able to kind of bridge that.
I think actually when I started, it was kind of like, I was still there in the boom. I was like the very end of the boom because like it was still crazy busy all the time. The store financially was doing really well. I think like by the time it turned to like 2008, then it really started to kind of slow down. But I think DVD sales actually carried us for a while over CDs. And now it's not like that anymore because everyone has Netflix and all these other million streaming services. So, I mean, DVDs don't do awful, but they don't carry us at all. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, also when I started, no one cared about cassettes, and now cassettes are like super, super in. Vinyl's back up like crazy.
This must have been 2006. It was like around my 18th birthday, like the day before, whatever. I was in Amoeba, and they had a sign that said free records, and I asked about it, and they gave me 3 huge boxes of vinyl because nobody wanted to buy them, and they sprayed the top with the green spray paint, so they weren't worth it. You know, you couldn't like resell them.
Yeah.
But it was like Rubber Soul and Led Zeppelin 3, the Monkees, like a lot of like good classic records. And then now, like,
those are way more expensive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I always knew that. Have you always been a record connoisseur? Do you like the black shiny vinyl?
Oh yeah. I don't know, I've just always been, my mom had a Groucho Marx picture disc, and I always like stared at it forever when I was a kid. I'm like, man, this is so cool. And then like when I found out I could buy records, because I didn't know she had a record player until I was maybe like 12 or 13, and she had just gotten me into Alice Cooper, and we went to a yard sale, and I bought like every Alice Cooper record, and it was awesome. And then I got into like Punk 7 Inches, and then it's just been bad since then.
It was really a cool time because records were so cheap or free.
Yeah.
You could hear all this really cool music.
Yep.
It was like nothing to like try. Oh, I'll just buy all the Alice Cooper records.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll like them.
Yeah,
Maybe I won't, like whatever.
Yeah, I think I spent like $6 for like, I don't know, 19 records or something stupid. Like, yeah. Yeah, now it's like CDs are like that. CDs are the cheap way to find new music, which is crazy.
Do you think CDs are ever gonna have like a bands are gonna do CD only releases?
I feel like people when they do self-releases, if they want a physical thing, they will do that because CDs are way cheaper than cassettes to make now. And it's just kind of like, you know, if you're broke and trying to put out stuff, CDs is the cheapest, you know. So I don't know. I don't see them like, because just put it online, you know, like, but I don't know. Maybe.
Now let's look forward the future a little bit. Spotify goes out of business, iTunes folds, whatever. The same thing happened with vinyl. What if MP3s become like rare or coveted?
How?
Like there's like one hard drive with all this stuff.
Oh yeah, we start like flipping iPods.
Yeah.
This iPod's loaded. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
People come in all the time asking us to buy just one song from us. because they don't understand the concept of.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, they come in and they're like, oh, I just want that song, and we're like, well, we have the album, but I just want the one song. Can't I just buy the one song? How? No, I just want to buy the MP3. And I'm like,
At a store?
yeah, like people don't. I feel like people find out that it's MP3 only, or like you can buy the single as MP3, and they still have like the concept in their head of like singles and CD singles, so they can go to a physical place and buy it. I don't know what people think.
That happens enough that like
Oh, yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah, all the time.
What age group?
I don't know. Maybe probably starting like 40s, you know.
That's young enough. That's no excuse. How do you
Yeah.
not? How do you not know that?
I mean, I don't know. All the questions we get is just.
What are some other common ones?
There's a lot of new people buying records, like young kids for the first time, and I don't think they fully understand how records work. And so I heard these two kids like shopping the 7 inches, and they were all bummed because they're like, man, there's so much cool stuff here, but I only have a record player. I don't have a 7-inch player. And I like told them like, oh, they work on that. You just need to get the adapter if it has a big hole. And they're like, oh no, ours is just for LPs. I'm like, but as long as, you know, and I tried to, they didn't get it. They didn't want to. It was, all right. So they thought they had to get a 7-inch small record player. What other questions did he get?
Whatever the question, can I offer you a beer?
Sure.
This is from our sponsor, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Well, thanks, Pabst.
Wait, there's going to be beer in that glass
yeah.
pretty soon. Yeah, glasses are nice too.
Very nice.
You know, not only does Pabst make great beer, award-winning, Blue Ribbon-winning beer, very cool pint glasses as well.
Quality.
Yeah. You can.
Check out that pour.
Yeah. Well.
Should work in a bar.
Yeah. This is just like you're at the Cha Cha Lounge.
Yeah.
So you're teaching there this weekend.
Yeah,
It's on
Friday.
Instagram. Ramones night.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I like the Ramones a lot.
I'm so excited.
Maybe you can let that
Thank you so much.
chill.
Yeah, my whole thing about that was like, I super love Ramones. Every time I DJ, I always play way too many Ramones songs. And I'm just like, I want to do a Ramones night. And I was talking to Shannon about it. Shannon's one of the girls who books at Cha Cha, and she helps out shows and everything. She's awesome. You know Shannon.
Yeah. Shannon is awesome.
Yeah.
Should have her on the show.
You should.
Yeah,
She's
she's
great.
a real rocker.
You should talk to her about Danzig. We talked about Danzig for like an hour. It was awesome. She gets real excited about him. But yeah, I was talking to her and I was like, you know, there's all these Smiths nights. None of the Smiths are dead. There's finally Bowie nights, you know. I mean, there should have been Bowie nights before, but like all of the Ramones are dead. Why isn't there Ramones nights often? And she's like, that's a really good idea. So we're going to have it, and hopefully it goes well. And then we might do like a Ramones cover band or something once. We'll see. So
Like
the first
you and
one's,
Shannon would do it, or you'd have one come?
well, I would like to be part of it, but I'm not sure of the lineup yet. But yeah, we'll
All-female Ramones.
I think so. I think that'd be
cover
cool.
band.
But yeah, it'd be awesome.
The Ramones are a really great group.
Mm-hmm.
Much better than the Smiths.
Smiths is one of my least favorite bands ever.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah,
I like Morrissey as a guy.
not me.
Oh, really? I think he's funny. The way he's like trolling everyone all the time.
Yeah, I guess.
I saw him at. I'm not like a fan of his music. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just not whatever. But same as Kid Rock. Like I like Kid Rock. I think he's funny. Whatever.
I saw Fred Durst the other day. It was really funny.
Ooh, is he cool?
And he was talking on the phone. He seemed like he was nice talking on the phone. He still wears the same Adidas shoes, and he's wearing a baseball hat. He looks exactly the same.
Good.
He's outside of Veggie Girl walking back and forth, and then everyone at Veggie Girl is just looking at him. It's good. Sorry, I interrupted you. You said Kid Rock,
That's
and it
all right.
sparked my memory.
Yeah. Well, no, I just want to tell this story about Morrissey. I saw him at FYF, and he has a song, Meat is Murder. You've heard of that song, whatever. I don't care about animals, whatever. But when he plays that song on the screen is like videos of slaughterhouses and animals being abused and stuff, and there were people crying.
Like in the crowd?
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. He was making people cry at like this festival, like they're there to see Kanye West.
I was crying because I had to hear him. That's why I was crying.
And he was crying when he wrote the songs. Big sad off. But yeah, enough Smith's night, Ramones night. What do you like about the Ramones?
I just think that they're like perfect pop songs. They really are. I think that they were like the punk girl groups, you know? They were like the boy group of the 70s. They just want to be like Phil Spector groups. And their songs are short and sweet. And they just like, you know, like their first record, they like made a sound, and then they made like a jillion records after that all had that sound, but they're all great and listenable. And I feel like that's really hard to do. I've been listening to a lot of later Ramones where Joey just gets bananas, like Halfway to Sanity. I've been listening to that record a lot. It came out in 87.
Oh, I don't know.
It's kind of bad. I'm Not Jesus, Weasel Face. It's kind of a bad one. Joey sings a lot, like really like more guttural on that one, but I really like it. It's good, and you never hear it as much. I've been listening to which one?
Never even heard of that one.
Yeah, you gotta listen to it. It's good. It's like you hear it and you're kind of like, oh, this is kind of bad. But then you like listen, and you're like, no, it's good. It's like shitty good. And then Too Tough to Die. I've been listening to that one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one. Subterranean Jungle, all of them are good. There's not a bad Ramones album. I'm bummed. I thought I was looking through my records the other day, and I gave my D.D. King record away to a friend, and for some reason I thought I had replaced it, and I didn't, and so that will be missing from Ramones night, but that's okay. Have you heard D.D. King's album?
Yeah, I haven't heard the whole album. I just, I like heard enough of it. Like, well, that's what that is.
Yep.
I'll stick with The Rocket to Russia.
Yep. That's pretty good. I met Marky Ramone once, and he thought I was the most obnoxious person ever. I was also 14. It was when he was playing in Misfits with Dez and Doyle, and I met him before a show, and I was just like, yeah! Like, my friend who was 16, like, got backstage and somehow got us backstage, so we were all just like super stoked, really obnoxious little kids. And we saw Marky, and I just remember being like, are you gonna play Return of the Fly? And he was like, and he like walked around the whole back of the venue to go on the other side of the stage because he didn't want to deal with us. We were like, yeah. Then we saw Dez, and Dez was really nice. And then we saw Doyle was super nice.
That's what I hear about him. He's just like an older, like
I'm
East
sorry, not
Coast
Doyle,
guy.
Jerry. Yeah.
Okay, you kids have a good time.
He was gonna buy us pizza. He's like, how'd you kids get out here? And we're like, we stole a car and drove from New York because it was in Massachusetts. And he's like, what? Get home safe. And then he's like, he's like, did you guys eat dinner? We're like, no. And he's like, you want a pizza? And we're like, oh yeah. And then we, by the time, because he stays until everyone has their stuff signed. And so by the time he was done with that, the pizza place was closed, which is kind of a bummer, but he was gonna totally buy us pizza. It was super nice. He was just on the Stone Cold podcast the other day, and he seemed like a nice guy.
Stone Cold or?
Both of them.
Oh, yeah.
I emailed Stone Cold once. He wrote me back. That's why I started actually going to wrestling school, because I was like, oh man, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler. And then I emailed Stone Cold, and I told him like I was thinking about it, and I was, if he had any suggestions. And then he wrote me back, and it was awesome. And so I was like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta do it for Steve Austin.
Well, this is a good time today. What is wrestling school? What goes on there? How does one become a wrestler? For those of us who don't have the time to email Stone Cold Steve Austin, who maybe don't know what to say.
So I go to a place, it's called Knox Pro. It is run by Rikishi. Do you remember Rikishi?
I don't know anything about wrestling.
You never saw any wrestling, like not even in the 90s?
I mean, I saw it. I'm never into it.
Do you remember? You may have like just remembered the image because he was like everywhere. So he was like the big Samoan guy that would wear.
Was he in the video game?
Probably. He would wear the glasses. He was in Too Cool. He would dance. He would put his butt in people's faces and call it the stink face. That was his finisher. So he is one of my trainers. And then his cousin Reno, who goes by his wrestling name is Black Pearl. And then Gangrel, who was also in the Attitude Era. He was like a vampire. He'd come out and like spit blood, and he was in the Brood. He was cool. So those are the founders and the trainers. So yeah, it's 3 times a week. You go, and a typical class, it depends on who's running it, but typically you go, you have to make sure everything's clean there. It's in Sun Valley, which is like super industrial. So you're like, where am I? Then there's like this building, and you walk in, and there's a ring, and it's totally awesome. So yeah, they like start you off like a jillion squats and jumping jacks and, you know, lunges and running and blah, 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 blah. So you do all that, and you get in and you do like, you learn how to roll. And like rolling is kind of the basis of like
the stage fighting kind of.
Yes and no. Like, there is some things choreographed, but a lot of things is like reaction, and you really are taking all your own falls, and you're like, sometimes you are really getting hurt. I've gotten hurt a lot. So hopefully I don't get hurt in the foreseeable future. But yeah, they teach you how to stay loose, and how to like, the whole thing is like, you have to trust who you're wrestling, and you have to take care of each other. So like, I have to hit you, but not hard enough where you're gonna die. And you have to throw me, but make sure you place me the right place so I don't die. So it's like a lot of like, I learned how to be prepared to take whatever you're gonna give me, so that like I land fine, and you don't hurt me, and I don't hurt myself, and I don't hurt you, you know? So it's like choreographed, but it's not, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like improvised a little bit.
Yeah.
But you have to...
Like, you know the basics, but then you can go in not knowing what you're gonna do, but be prepared to take...
But if everybody knows the rules...
Exactly.
And how to do it, then you can do it successfully.
Yes, ideally. But yeah, it's super awesome.
Is there a portion of the class where they focus on the storylines? Does Knox Pro have any of the storylines?
We do. So there's training 3 days a week, and then usually once a month we have a show where like people can come and watch. So the shows they always had some sort of a storyline, but lately the past 2 shows have been like super heavy on storyline. So they're gonna try and get us into like super heavy storyline mode, which is super fun. They just made me a bad guy, so I am now a heel, which I was kind of bummed at first about it, because I was like, I don't know if I could be a heel, but it's super fun and I love it. So I'm a good bad guy.
Who comes up with the storylines?
So whoever books it, usually like the senior kids who've been there for a while, they'll do it so that, like, I mean, the trainers can obviously do it, but they kind of want to give everyone experience with how to book and how to, you know, make up storylines, whatever. And so they'll kind of have a good idea, and they'll be like, oh, I want, like, you know, Tuna's going to be a bad guy now, and she's going to hang out with Otto Von Clutch, so make that happen. And then they tell us that, and then we have to kind of figure out how to make that happen, you know? So like, they give us like the end result, and we have to get there. So it's not like anything is scripted. It's just like, all right, now I'm bad, we got to figure out how to make me a bad guy. So it's super fun.
I don't know a lot about wrestling, like the specifics of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know about it in general, and everything I know about it I like.
You would love wrestling. I don't know why you're not into it.
I know. Because it's regional, I like that. Mm-hmm. And I like things done by like DIY, kind of like, we'll just be wrestlers now.
Yep.
Whatever. But from my understanding, and clear this up if this isn't true, the storylines are usually, I thought we were going to fight this guy, but we're going to fight this guy instead.
You can. There can be.
So what are some common wrestling storylines?
I mean, usually it's over a belt, or
this guy wants that belt, and this person betrays that.
Yeah.
Betrayal's a big part of it,
yeah.
right?
Like, that's what part of our storyline was this last time was, I broke up the profilers, is what they're called. And it was Otto Von Clutch and Maverick we're partners. And then me and Otto started hanging out, and now we broke Maverick up. So he's with this girl Harley Kiss. So now we're arch nemesis. Before we used to be bros. But yeah, it's it's usually there'll be alliances until you get to a place, and then when someone wants to advance, they have to just think about themselves. It mimics real life. Did you watch you never watched it when you were a kid?
No, I did. Well,
like Macho Man and Bret Hart and
I was caught up in
Warrior.
the merchandise.
Yeah.
I didn't get much deeper than that.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
Do you ever do any of the backyard wrestling? Do you know anything about that?
I know people who do it. I've never done it. At this point, I don't think I would ever not do Knox Pro, because Knox Pro is I just feel like backyard wrestling, you're going to get hurt so much more. The cool thing about backyard wrestling is it's kind of like punk, people are I really want to do this. I'm going to do this no matter what, so they're super passionate about it, but it's also really dangerous because you don't know how to fall properly. You don't know how to not necessarily everyone is going to know how to do things properly. So there's just so much room for error. The ring isn't always up to standard. But I would go watch a show. I don't know that I would ever participate in backyard wrestling. You've never been to backyard wrestling, have you?
No, I'm so interested in it. I don't know. I'm really not.
I'll let you know when
I'm
there's another wrestling event.
It looks like it'll always be there. But I know that
It's super
I know all about it. I know that there was the guy who would bleed people, and then he's HIV positive. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Canadian guy.
in real life.
Yeah. The moves, whatever. I could get more into it. I know that there's the different there's WWF is the most famous one, but then there's local circuits that people do. I knew that the storylines were about fighting guys, or guys who they're gonna fight. Yeah, I really want to be into it, and the barrier to entry is nothing.
I feel you would go and you would instantly just be hooked, and that happens so often. People are yeah, whatever, wrestling, and then you go and you're oh, it's so cool. It's super fun live. Anyone that's ever yeah, I don't think I like wrestling, go live. It's so much fun.
Now, what about the XFL? Were you into that?
No, I remember when it happened.
Nobody liked that.
Yeah, I remember. So my uncle's really obsessed with wrestling. He's the one that got me into wrestling. And I just remember, I don't remember how old I was when that happened. I want to say 8 or 9 maybe, or 10. But I remember it being on, and I remember him taping it because he would be at work when the games would happen, and he'd come home and watch it. And I was just this is so boring. This isn't wrestling. Yeah. He always tried to make finishers for me. I wanted to be like Luna. There was this wrestler, and she talked like this, and she was real crazy, and she almost had Kiss gear on. It was lots of chains, and she just looked like a rocker, and she had the sides of her head shaved, and there was veins painted on the sides, and she teased her hair real big, and she was awesome. She was my idol. I saw her when I was in kindergarten in the front row, and I teased my hair like hers. She was so cool.
What's the gender breakdown of wrestling?
Traditionally it's male dominated, but
so is
lately,
everything.
Yeah. But lately, actually, a lot more females have been wrestling, and I think people have been taking the girls more serious, because for a while it was just super hot girls that were just kind of throwing each other around a little bit. But no, everywhere, and all the promotions, female wrestlers are just super strong. They're taking the time to learn how to wrestle. They're having really good matches. I think people are more and more surprised, so they're paying more attention to the girls because they're whoa, their matches are actually good. So right now there's it's a really big it's like a shift for females. The last like year and a half, I'd say, has been like really, really female centric, with like actual like athletes and like, you know, taking time to actually have long matches. There's a promotion in Chicago, I believe, called Shimmer, and it's like all female. It's like, I might get shit for this, but probably like the modern day Glow. Did you ever watch Glow? Or do you know about Glow? Glow is the Glorious Ladies of Wrestling. It happened in the 80s. It's awesome. There's a documentary about it. You should watch it. But I guess when they were doing it, they just like had a casting call for girls, and then the girls got there and they're like, okay, we want you guys to wrestle, and they're like, what? So like they had this casting call, and they like I guess like took like a quarter of the girls, taught them how to wrestle, and then they all moved to Vegas, and they like put like the bad guys in one house and the good guys in another house, and they would like bring them on and have like matches and stuff, and they would have like, they wouldn't have commercial breaks, they would have like sponsorship breaks in the show, and it'd be like the girls being like, Pabst Blue Ribbon is great, you know, like during a segment. So it's good.
Sounds like right.
Yeah.
Roller derby, would you never mess with that?
I would love to go. I've never been.
Me neither. The derby dolls.
I feel like it'd be awesome.
Yeah. There's no crossover between roller derby and wrestling that you're aware of.
No. I mean, I'd imagine people are into both. And I'd imagine that derby girls would be really good at wrestling because they have really strong legs. But not that I'm aware. There's not like a direct switch, but there should be.
Crossover.
There should be. I don't think I'm good enough at roller skating to make it in the derby world.
Yeah, like how cool would it be if like you betray like your alliance, or like you bust up another alliance, and then someone just like rolls in on roller skates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe you could work it into a future storyline.
You could do a rolling clothesline to someone.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, and just throwing stuff out there. You know. So, you know, we talked about wrestling, we've talked about music. Let's talk about music made by wrestlers. There's a lot of it, right? Hulk Hogan, Wrestling Boot Band.
It's great.
It's great. Okay. Well,
It's great. Have you heard it?
I've never heard Hulkster in Heaven described as great.
I used to rip my shirt, but then you tore my heart.
Yeah.
I knew you were a Hulkamaniac right from the very start. It's good. Yeah, I really want to do that with my school. I hope that they'll like be down to make a record. I don't see why not.
Because you're a musician, you're a wrestler. You should totally do it.
I know.
Also, there's a Macho Man album, right?
So that was a rebuttal to Hulk Hogan's, but his didn't come out until I think like 2003. Like it came out like way after, because I think Hulk's came out in 1995.
Yeah.
And it took him like 8 years to put out his rebuttal album. And so it's called Be a Man, but initially it was called Be a Man Hulk, and then they cut it out because they didn't want to deal with the drama and the copyright stuff. But yeah, have you heard it? It's bad.
Mm-mm.
It's pretty bad.
I've seen the covers.
I can't quote it like I can Hulk's.
The Hulkamania, Dusty Rhodes has an album, right?
I don't know if he has a whole album. I know he has a song.
Yeah,
because they did the WrestleMania, the album. There's like a
Right.
lot of like comps, like
Yeah.
Classy Freddie Blassie has a song. Jesse Ventura has a song.
He does. Wow.
I guess Jim Cornette, he was a manager. I guess he has a whole album. I haven't heard it. Who else has one? Mean Gene. Mean Gene used to be an announcer. He was great. I guess before he was involved in wrestling, he used to have a rockabilly band. And I guess Norton reissued it, but like a few years ago. And I haven't seen it, and I really want it. So that's on my search list.
Your search list.
Mm-hmm.
What else is on that list?
You put me on the spot. I have a big one. There's a Christmas album I really want. It's the Wailers and the Sonics and one other band. It's 3 bands on one comp. But the Wailers have a really good Christmas song called She's Coming Home, and it's only on this comp. So that's always immediately I go search for that. I need D.D. King, because that's,
Replacement copy.
I need that.
Is there anything that was on your search list for a long time that you got it and then, because I've gotten a lot of the records I've been looking for over time, and I spend less and less time in the record store since I picked up all these certain things.
I mean,
what was like the best, like you've always wanted it? Do you have anything like that?
I got the Stimulator 7-inch. The Stimulators was Harley from Cro-Mags. It was his band before Cro-Mags. He's like 14 in it. He's playing drums. It's a really messed up copy, but it's so awesome. Like, I've been looking for that forever. So I got that, and I was really, really excited about it. I got the first Danzig album in New York a few months ago, and they gave it to me for like super cheap because it's really expensive now. So I was really excited about that. Yeah, you're putting me on the spot, so now I can't think of any, but...
Well, I'll never forget the day that I finally found a copy of Jane and Dean Meet Batman.
Oh, yeah.
So, I wish you luck in finding
a Mean Gene.
The Mean Gene, but, it's a double-edged sword because there's, I never need to check the Jane and Dean section at the store anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I really love going to record stores because now, like, since I work at Amoeba, I just, like, price stuff. And instead of, like, going out and meaningfully shopping, like, I just come across stuff, which is awesome. And I learn about a lot of music that way. But I also miss, like, going places and digging and being like, whoa. So it's always really nice. Every time I travel, I always make it a point to go to, like, as many record stores as I can.
Of course. Well, you can't travel and like sit at a hotel.
Yeah.
Nah.
Fuck that.
Thrift stores and record stores.
And pizza.
And pizza. Thrift stores, record stores, and pizza. So, Tuna, you got a lot of, kind of subtly, you have a lot of projects going.
I do.
What do you want to tell people about as we're wrapping up?
When you talk
Knox
about my
Pro
band.
Wrestling Dog Teeth.
Yeah, talk about my band.
Check out Dog Teeth.
We have a show on Sunday at Loaded Hollywood.
Oh, they're closing that, the rock and roll theme bar.
They are. Well, they're not closing the bar. They're closing the venue side.
I didn't know there was a venue there.
Yeah, so like, it's like 2 narrow places, and they're just like cutting half of it off. So the bar is staying, but the venue is not.
Still go though. You still go. DJing all over town.
Yeah.
Playing great music.
Thanks. I love it. You DJ'd with me was that your first time ever DJ?
Yeah, it was.
And Melody?
Yeah, it was.
Now you're DJing all over town?
Just as in a family, and only sometimes. Ever since Brett left, it's
yeah.
It's not as good. That's a conversation for another day, though. And I'm not allowed to DJ at Cha-Cha anymore because I played too much weird music.
You played too much Barking Beatles?
Yeah. Beetle Barkers.
Yeah, sorry.
That ever come into Amoeba?
The 7-inch does. There's a 7-inch.
That's probably just some more from the album.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Also, I don't need any more Dogs Barking Beetle songs. Like, 12 is enough.
I don't know. You might need the extra extended cut 7-inch version.
That's right. You did give me my start as a DJ, so I owe you that. Knox Pro Wrestling.
Knox Pro. KnoxPro.com.
Tuna Teeth on Instagram.
That is me on Instagram. What else? I think that's better.
Well, you're around.
I'm around.
If people keep their eyes open, they'll look at some tuna in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some things going on.
All right. Well, cool. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for saying thank you. Thank you to our sponsors, Pabst Blue Ribbon, hell of a beer, Stance Socks, which we've been wearing all night, and then clothing store. Of course, you for watching. Until next time, this is Adam Papagan, reminding you that there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. Good night.